The sky burned red over the plains of Vayara 9, the distant planet caught in chaos. Explosions shook the ground, sending plumes of black smoke into the air. Alien soldiers ran, fired, and dodged, their sleek armor reflecting the fires around them. In the middle of this chaos, a single figure stood out, a young alien princess, tall and elegant, with silver-blue skin that shimmered under the sun. Her eyes glowed faintly, showing both determination and fear. She was leading her troops from the front, refusing to stay behind the safety of the command ships. Her name was Lysera, and she carried the weight of a kingdom on her shoulders. The enemy forces had pushed deep into Vayara territory, and failure was not an option. Every movement of her soldiers depended on her strategy. Every signal she gave could save or endanger lives. Her heart beat fast as she surveyed the battlefield, calculating risks while the sounds of war roared around her. Suddenly, a group of enemy fighters burst from the smoke, faster and more agile than anyone had expected. They surrounded a section of Lysera's troops, and panic began to spread. Lysera raised her voice in commands, signaling her soldiers to regroup, but the chaos made it difficult for them to hear. A distant explosion threw her off balance. Her leg was struck, and pain shot through her body like fire. She fell, staggering, but refusing to go down completely. From the edge of the battlefield, a human soldier named Marcus had been observing. He had been deployed to assist in Allied operations, part of a small contingent sent across the stars. Humans were often underestimated by aliens, seen as fragile and inexperienced in cosmic warfare. Marcus had learned quickly that humans could adapt in ways others could not imagine. And now, seeing the princess fall, his instincts took over. He ran across the uneven ground, dodging burning debris and energy blasts. Lysera's troops parted instinctively, recognizing the courage of a human who risked himself so freely. Marcus reached her just as she tried to push herself upright again. "I've got you," he said in a calm voice, though his chest heaved from exertion. Words mattered little in this moment. His actions spoke louder. Lysera's eyes widened and she shook her head. I can't," she started. But before she could finish, another explosion threw her into Marcus's arms. Pain radiated through her body, and her strength failed her completely. Marcus caught her without faltering, adjusting his grip to shield her from the flying debris. Around them, the battlefield seemed endless, filled with smoke, fire, and screams, yet he focused only on keeping her safe. Moving was difficult. Enemy fighters were everywhere, and every second counted. Marcus scanned the area, spotting a narrow trench that led away from the main chaos. He carried Lysera toward it, his steps steady despite the danger. Around him, soldiers of both species fought bravely, but many were injured or distracted by the ambush. Marcus's human mind raced, analyzing every path, every risk. He noticed that the enemy fighters were beginning to concentrate their attack on the princess. "Hold on," he shouted, ducking as a laser shot grazed past. Lysera's small hands clutched his armor instinctively, her pride struggling with her need for help. She had never allowed herself to be vulnerable, especially not in front of humans. Yet here, she had no choice. Her body burned with pain, and she felt an unfamiliar trust forming. Marcus did not hesitate. He shielded her with his own body, thinking only of her safety. They reached the trench, and Marcus laid her down carefully. Smoke curled around them, and the sounds of the battle became muffled. Lysera's breathing was shallow, her body trembling from shock and pain. Marcus checked her wounds quickly. One leg was badly injured, and there were cuts across her arms. She was gravely hurt but alive. That was all that mattered now. Marcus glanced up. The battlefield was still alive with chaos, but a plan formed in his mind. He needed to move her to a safer place, somewhere they could regroup and treat her injuries. He remembered seeing a small outpost a few kilometers away, a place used by Allied forces as a temporary command station. If he could reach it, Lysera might survive. He hoisted her onto his back, feeling the weight of the princess, her arms wrapped lightly around him. The journey was dangerous. Explosions shook the ground, and stray energy blasts scorched the earth near them. Marcus ran with every ounce of strength, moving as quickly and carefully as he could. Each step was calculated, balancing speed and caution. Lysera's head rested against his shoulder, her silver-blue hair brushing against his armor. Despite the chaos, a strange calm settled over them both, a silent understanding passing between two beings from very different worlds. Hours seemed to pass as they navigated through the battlefield. Marcus used every trick he knew, ducking behind debris, sprinting across open ground and avoiding enemy patrols. Lysera's breathing slowly steadied, though pain still racked her body. She was aware of him now, studying the human who had risked everything for her. His strength, courage, and quick thinking impressed her deeply. In her world, humans were often underestimated, but she could see now why they had survived countless conflicts across the galaxy. Finally, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson, Marcus spotted the outpost. It was damaged but still standing, with signs of life from allied medics inside. Relief washed over him. He carried Lysera inside, laying her gently on a medical cot. Medics rushed to her side, speaking a language Marcus didn't fully understand. Yet their concern was clear. Marcus stepped back, his chest heaving. He looked at Lysera, who had closed her eyes, exhausted but alive. A faint smile touched her lips, a gesture of gratitude that transcended language. He nodded silently, knowing that this was only the beginning. The princess had survived the battlefield because of human courage, adaptability, and determination. But the war was far from over, and new challenges awaited them both. Outside, the first stars of evening began to shine over Veyara 9. The battlefield was still dangerous, the war still raging, but a human and an alien princess had formed a bond in the heart of chaos. It was a small spark of hope in a universe of conflict, proof that courage, empathy, and trust could bridge worlds. And in that quiet moment, even as the battlefield roared beyond the outpost walls, both of them knew this was only the start of a journey that would change everything. The small outpost was quiet compared to the chaos outside. Broken walls and scorched floors bore the scars of past battles, but inside, it offered a fragile sanctuary. Marcus guided the alien princess, Lysera, into the medbay. Alien medics, slender and graceful, worked quickly, their hands moving with precision as they examined her wounds. Though their language was foreign to Marcus, he understood the urgency in their gestures and expressions. Lysera's silver-blue skin was pale under the flickering lights. Her breathing was steady but shallow, and her large, luminous eyes closed in exhaustion. Marcus stayed by her side, his human instincts refusing to let her face this alone. He adjusted the blanket around her shoulders, offering warmth without words. In that moment, actions mattered more than speech. One of the medics approached Marcus cautiously. They spoke quickly in their alien tongue, but Marcus could only catch fragments. He shook his head and pointed at Lysera. "She needs help. Safe," he said, using simple words. The medic's eyes softened. They nodded, understanding the meaning clearly. Together, they moved with synchronized effort, lifting Lysera onto a more comfortable cot. Marcus observed quietly. He had faced danger before, but caring for an alien of royal status was different. The battlefield had tested his courage and strength. But here, he needed patience, empathy, and understanding. He glanced around the outpost. Despite the battle's destruction, signs of life persisted. Humans and aliens worked together, repairing equipment, sharing rations, and tending to the injured. It was a fragile community, a small spark of hope in a world engulfed by war. Hours passed, and Lysera's condition stabilized. Her breathing deepened, and the paleness of her skin faded slightly. She stirred, blinking at the unfamiliar ceiling. Her first conscious thoughts were disoriented. She did not know where she was, only that someone had carried her here. Her gaze met Marcus's. He was sitting nearby, keeping watch, eyes scanning the dim room, alert to every sound. Lysera tried to speak, her voice weak. "Where am I?" she whispered. Marcus knelt beside her cot, offering a reassuring smile. "Safe," he said simply. "You're safe now." We're all safe here. For now. Her luminous eyes studied him carefully. She had seen many humans, but none had acted with such courage. Her pride made it hard to admit it, but she felt a strange gratitude toward this man. He had carried her across a battlefield, shielded her from danger, and remained calm when most would panic. The outpost was more than just a shelter. It was a meeting place for humans and aliens who opposed the same enemy, a rare neutral zone in a galaxy torn by conflict. Lysera learned slowly, watching Marcus interact with the others. He offered advice, helped lift supplies, and even translated alien instructions with clever guesses when no one else could understand. Humans were often underestimated, yet Marcus proved that ingenuity, quick thinking, and determination could overcome even the greatest obstacles. By the next day, Lysera was able to sit up. Pain still lingered in her leg and arms, but the medics had done their work well. She observed Marcus as he moved through the outpost, coordinating repairs and tending to the morning arrived over the outpost, and the weak sunlight filtered through broken windows, casting long shadows across the floor. Lysera, the alien princess, had rested well, her wounds slowly healing. Her silver-blue skin glimmered faintly under the light, and she blinked as her eyes adjusted. She had never expected to survive the battlefield, let alone wake in a human sanctuary. Yet here she was. Marcus sat nearby, quietly inspecting a damaged communication device. He didn't notice her watching him, his hands moving with careful precision as he repaired the device with tools that seemed too simple for such advanced technology. Yet his resourcefulness impressed her. She had thought humans were fragile and weak, but Marcus had proven them capable of courage, intelligence, and ingenuity. Lysera finally spoke, her voice still soft from weakness. "Marcus," she said, pausing to gather strength. "Why, are you still here? You should be helping the others." Marcus looked up and smiled. "I'm here because I promised you I would make sure you survived. That's my job, no matter what else is happening." He set the tools aside and moved closer to her cot. "Besides, someone needs to make sure you don't do anything reckless." His tone was light, but his eyes showed genuine care. Lysera studied him for a moment. She had been trained in diplomacy, strategy, and combat, but she had never dealt with someone who acted purely from empathy and courage. Humans were unpredictable, yet their instincts often led to surprising success. She felt a strange trust forming, stronger than any she had felt in years. I am Lysera," she began, hesitant. "Princess of Nerith. My people, my kingdom, they are in danger." Her voice wavered slightly, and Marcus nodded, listening carefully. "I know," he said. "I've seen some of it, and I'll help however I can. But first, you need to heal." Lysera shifted slightly, testing her strength. Pain shot through her leg, but it was manageable. She looked at Marcus, realizing she had been unconscious for hours while he stayed by her side. A deep sense of gratitude filled her chest. "You risked yourself for me," she said. "A human for an alien princess." Marcus shrugged lightly. "I didn't think about it that way. You needed help. That's enough reason for me." His words were simple, yet honest. Lysera felt her admiration grow. This human didn't care about status or species. He cared about life, about doing what was right. As the day passed, Lysera shared more about her world. She spoke of Nerith, a planet of vast oceans and floating cities, of her royal duties, and of the enemies threatening her people. Marcus listened intently, asking questions when he could. Though his understanding was limited by language, his curiosity and attention were clear. He wanted to learn, to adapt, and to help. "You think humans are weak," Lysera said at one point, testing him. "Many in my kingdom do. They believe your species cannot survive real danger." Marcus shook his head firmly. "We survive because we adapt. We think fast, act fast, and never give up. That's why we're still here." He paused, then added, I've learned that even the smallest idea can change the outcome of a battle. Lysra considered his words carefully. There was truth in them, more than she had realized. Humans were underestimated because others did not understand their determination, creativity, and spirit. Marcus embodied all of this, and she felt a cautious hope. Perhaps humans could be allies not just in battle, but in the future of her kingdom. By afternoon, the medics allowed Lysra to move more freely. Marcus accompanied her outside the outpost, where the ruined landscape stretched for miles. Smoke still rose in the distance, evidence that the battlefield had not rested and neither had the enemy. Yet the sight of Marcus moving confidently beside her filled her with reassurance. He was small compared to the alien soldiers she was used to, but his presence had weight, strength born of courage and intelligence. They walked slowly, talking quietly. Lysra shared details of her culture, the importance of honor, the value of teamwork, and the strategy behind her leadership. Marcus listened, sometimes offering simple suggestions, sometimes just nodding. His human perspective was different, yet valuable. Together they began to see new ways to approach challenges, blending alien strategy with human ingenuity. Later, as they returned to the outpost, Lysra paused. "I trust you," she said softly, a statement that carried more weight than any royal decree. Marcus looked at her, surprised but quietly proud. Trust was earned, not given lightly in her world. For her to admit it meant something significant. Marcus simply nodded. "And I trust you. We'll figure this out together." Evening fell. Painting. The outpost in shades of gold and crimson. The medics prepared meals, humans and aliens shared stories, and Marcus checked on repairs. Lysra sat quietly, absorbing the scene. She realized that hope was fragile but powerful. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, helpers, and friends. Marcus had shown her that in action, not words, and that kind of proof could not be ignored. As night approached, the sounds of distant battles reminded them both that danger was never far. Yet for the first time, Lysra felt a sense of peace. The human beside her was not just a soldier. He was a partner, a protector, and a bridge between worlds. Together, they could face the challenges ahead. That night, as the stars shone over Veyara 9, Lysra allowed herself to rest again. The war had not ended. Her kingdom was still in danger, but a spark of hope had been lit. Marcus had shown her that humans could make a difference, that courage and ingenuity transcended species. And, in that quiet, fragile moment, both of them knew the journey was only beginning. Secrets had been shared, trust had been built, and the future, uncertain yet full of potential, waited for their next step. The next morning, Lysra woke with a renewed sense of purpose. Her leg was still sore, but her body had regained strength. The small outpost had served its purpose, offering a safe place to heal and plan. Marcus stood by the doorway, adjusting supplies on his back. His calm presence gave her confidence. "We should leave soon," he said. "The longer we stay, the higher the risk of being discovered." Lysra nodded. "I can walk now, but the journey will be long and dangerous." Her voice carried the weight of command, yet there was a hint of uncertainty. She had relied on others before, but now she needed to act alongside Marcus, as a partner rather than a sovereign leading alone. They stepped outside. The battlefield beyond stretched endlessly, a scarred landscape of blackened craters, broken vehicles, and the occasional smoke plume from distant fires. The sky was a dull orange, heavy with dust. Enemy patrols could appear at any moment, yet Marcus led with quiet confidence. His human instincts had taught him to move quickly, find cover, and use every obstacle to their advantage. Lysra observed, noting how humans turned disadvantage into opportunity. Their path took them through narrow valleys and broken ridges. Marcus carried essential supplies while Lysra walked beside him, relying on her agility to move efficiently despite her injuries. The journey was slow but steady, and conversation flowed between them. Lysra spoke of her people, her training, and her world's culture. Marcus shared human stories, small victories, clever tactics, and examples of how humans survived against the odds. At midday, they reached a ruined communication tower. Marcus inspected it, then looked at Lysera. "We can use this to contact allies," he said. "Even a short message could warn them of enemy movements." Lysera watched as Marcus worked, hands moving with determination and precision. He adjusted alien technology using simple human tools, adapting in ways she had not thought possible. The tower crackled to life, transmitting a faint signal across the system. She realized that human ingenuity did not rely on advanced knowledge. Alone, it relied on thinking, adapting, and acting when others hesitated. Suddenly, a shadow passed across the ridge. Enemy scouts had spotted them. Marcus froze for a brief moment, then ducked behind a crumbling wall. Lysera followed instinctively. The scouts scanned the area, unaware of the small duo hidden from view. Marcus whispered, "We need to move. Follow my lead." He led them through a hidden path, avoiding open ground. Lysera marveled at his ability to remain calm, thinking clearly under pressure. Even when the scouts came dangerously close, Marcus used clever distractions, throwing debris signaling a distant fire to draw their attention away. Humans might appear small or fragile, but their adaptability made them formidable in ways aliens often underestimated. By evening, they reached a canyon where a small spaceship had been hidden. Marcus had noticed it on their way, and it was now their best chance to escape the planet and reach Allied forces. Lysera helped Marcus lift supplies and check the ship's systems. Its engines were damaged, but with careful adjustment, Marcus believed they could take off. As the sun set behind distant mountains, painting the sky in deep reds and purples, Lysera finally spoke. I did not expect humans to be so resourceful." Marcus smiled, wiping sweat from his brow. "We survive by thinking fast and acting smart, and by helping each other." Lysera nodded slowly. She felt a growing respect for the human beside her. His courage was not loud or boastful. It was quiet, consistent, and unwavering. He had risked his life for her on the battlefield, guided her through dangerous terrain, and now he had found a way to escape a planet that had seemed impossible to survive. Night fell, and the stars shimmered above. The spaceship's engines hummed softly as Marcus made final preparations. Lysera observed the spaceship cut through the darkness of space, silent except for the low hum of the engines. Lysera sat near the navigation console, studying star charts and distant planets. Her leg had healed enough to move freely, though scars still reminded her of the battlefield. Marcus worked at the control panel, checking systems and monitoring communications. Every movement he made was precise, deliberate, and confident. A human who had faced countless dangers and survived. "This route should avoid most patrols," Marcus said, pointing to a map of shifting star positions. "It's longer, but safer. We can't risk an ambush." Lysera studied the map. Her alien knowledge of tactics combined with Marcus's human instincts, and she realized something important. Their partnership was more than necessity. It was a union of minds. Humans were unpredictable, yet capable of thinking creatively under pressure. Marcus's courage was not just bravery in battle. It was intelligence, strategy, and quick problem-solving. Hours passed, and the hum of engines became a background rhythm. Lysera found herself observing Marcus closely. He checked the ship repeatedly, made small adjustments, and even repaired a minor malfunction using tools he had adapted from simple human kits. Alien technology often relied on complex systems, yet Marcus had simplified it in ways she had never thought possible. His ingenuity amazed her. Suddenly the sensors beeped. "Contact!" Marcus exclaimed, pointing to a cluster of enemy ships approaching from the nebula. The enemy had tracked them, and now the small ship faced a dangerous confrontation. Lysera's heart raced, but Marcus remained calm, analyzing the situation quickly. "We can't outrun them," he said, "but we can outsmart them." Lysera watched as Marcus implemented a plan. He altered the ship's trajectory, making small, unpredictable jumps through the asteroid field nearby. Enemy ships tried to follow but collided with debris or were forced to break formation. Each maneuver was calculated, turning danger into opportunity. Lysera realized that human adaptability was extraordinary. They used the environment, their own limitations, and even chance to their advantage. "This is clever," Lysera admitted, impressed. Marcus shrugged lightly. "We survive because we think fast. Humans don't wait for the perfect moment. We make it." The enemy ships were now disorganized, struggling to regroup. Marcus seized the opportunity, using the ship's remaining energy to emit a signal pulse that disabled their weapons temporarily. Lysera watched, awe growing in her eyes, as the human transformed an impossible situation into a victory. Humans might be underestimated in size or strength, but their minds and determination could turn the tide of battle. As the enemy retreated, Lysera finally spoke more openly. "I underestimated humans. Your courage, your thinking, it is remarkable." Marcus smiled, though he was focused on repairs. "It's what we do, we survive, and we help each other." Night fell across the stars, but the small ship continued on its course. Lysera and Marcus shared quiet moments reflecting on the journey so far. She realized that heroism was not about glory or recognition. It was about action, empathy, and the willingness to risk everything for others. Marcus had demonstrated all of these qualities, not just on the battlefield, but on every step of their journey. By the time they approached the Allied station, Lysera understood that their arrival would mark a turning point. Marcus had proven himself not only as a protector, but as a strategist capable of inspiring trust and respect. Humans had always been underestimated by her people, yet here was one who had outshined expectations, showing that courage and ingenuity could change outcomes in ways few could imagine. The Allied station came into view, its massive structures lit against the darkness of space. Ships of many species moved about, carrying supplies, transporting troops, and coordinating defenses. Marcus guided their small ship into a docking bay, where medics and officers rushed to assist. Lysera stepped out carefully, scanning the area. Her kingdom's future might be at stake, but for the first time she felt a sense of hope. Officers and medics, both human and alien, looked at Marcus with a mixture of surprise and admiration. They had heard of human bravery in battle, but seeing it firsthand and seeing how he had carried an alien princess across impossible dangers filled them with respect. Lysera noticed the change in their expressions, a recognition that humans could be more than mere support. They could lead, protect, and inspire. Marcus, however, remained humble. He helped dock the ship, assisted injured allies, and even guided Lysera to a safe area for rest. His actions spoke louder than any words. Lysera realized that humans did not need recognition. Their spirit and determination were reward enough, and they rested. Lysera finally spoke in full sentences, her voice steady. "Marcus, I owe you my life. Not just because you carried me from the battlefield, but because you showed me the true strength of your people. All of you are remarkable." Marcus shook his head. "I just did what anyone would do. But I'm glad you see it." Lysera smiled faintly, realizing that true leadership could be shared, that courage could inspire across species, and that alliances were strongest when built on trust, respect, and action. Humans had shown her that hope was not a fragile concept. It was real, tangible, and powerful. Later, as night settled over the station, Lysera watched Marcus from the medbay window. Ships glimmered in the distance, lights reflecting on their metallic surfaces. She knew the war was far from over. Her kingdom still faced threats and challenges awaited beyond the safety of this station. Yet, she felt prepared. With humans like Marcus by her side, she believed that even impossible odds could be overcome. And as she closed her eyes, resting for the first time without fear, she understood something profound. The human spirit was a force unlike any other. Courage, intelligence, and empathy could bridge worlds, turn impossible situations into victories, and inspire hope in the darkest moments. Marcus had proven this again and again, and she knew that together they could face whatever dangers the galaxy would throw at them. The stars outside glimmered like distant promises. The princess had survived, her faith in humanity strengthened, and a new chapter of alliances, courage, and shared destiny had begun. And in that quiet, powerful moment, both she and Marcus understood one undeniable truth. Humans, when acting with heart and mind, could shine brighter than any weapon or strategy in the universe. The Allied station was alive with energy as Lysera and Marcus prepared for the next mission. Reports had come in that the enemy forces were regrouping near her home planet, Nerith. The princess's people were in danger, and time was short. Lysera felt a mix of fear and determination. She had survived battle, injury, and a journey across space, but now the fate of her kingdom rested on their next actions. Marcus stood beside her, checking their spacecraft and supplies. His calm confidence reassured her. He had already proven that human courage and ingenuity could overcome impossible odds. Now, he would help lead a plan that combined alien strategy and human adaptability, a partnership that might turn the tide of the war. "Allies are ready," Marcus said. "We can strike together, but we have to move quickly." Lysera nodded. "We have no choice. If we wait, Nerith could fall." They boarded the ship, joined by a small group of elite human and alien fighters. The journey back to Nerith was tense. Marcus piloted the ship through asteroid fields and avoided enemy patrols with precise maneuvers, while Lysera coordinated communications with her kingdom's forces. Their teamwork was seamless, each learning from the other, blending instinct, strategy, and quick thinking. As they neared Nerith, the planet's surface came into view. Fires burned across cities, and enemy ships moved in formation. Lysera's heart clenched, but she focused on the task ahead. Marcus, however, remained calm, analyzing the battlefield and pointing out weaknesses in the enemy's formation. "We can do this," he said. "We just need to be smart and act fast." They executed their plan with precision. Marcus led a small team to disable key enemy weapons using clever tricks, some simple human tools adapted to alien machinery. Lysera commanded her forces with authority, coordinating strikes that disrupted the enemy's formations. Humans and aliens worked together seamlessly, proving that trust and cooperation could overcome even the most formidable opponents. The battle raged, but the tide began to turn. Enemy ships faltered under coordinated attacks, and ground forces regained control of key areas. Lysera watched Marcus in action, his calm, deliberate movements guiding small teams to critical positions. Every decision he made saved lives and created openings that allowed her forces to advance. She realized again that humans were more than survivors. They were thinkers, planners, and heroes in ways her kingdom had underestimated. Finally, the enemy's command center fell. Their leaders retreated, and Nerith cities were freed from immediate danger. Cheers erupted from the Allied forces, humans and aliens alike celebrating the victory. Lysera looked at Marcus, her eyes filled with gratitude and admiration. "You saved my people," she said quietly, "and you led us when we needed guidance. Your courage and mind, they are remarkable." Marcus shook his head, smiling lightly. "We did it together, humans, aliens, everyone. That's how victories happen." But the respect for Marcus was not just from Lysera. Soldiers and officers who had doubted human ability approached him. They asked questions, sought his advice, and even thanked him personally. His